I'd like to introduce Mr. Byron Potter and his 10-year-old son Tracy, who was accidentally shot by his best friend. I'm going to let Byron and Tracy tell you their own story.
They had gotten a gun out of our room earlier that morning and snuck it out.
I was teaching my friend how you can, like, go to shoot a deer or something on a shotgun. You can pull the trigger and hold the hammer really hard and ease up the hammer, and the trigger caught his button and it slid out of his thumb when he was easing up the hammer, and it went off. I felt like a dream.
But it was no dream. The .357 bullet entered Tracy's arm just below the elbow and blew out the back of his arm. If not for the quick response of his mother, who just happens to be a nurse, and Byron, his father, a paramedic, Tracy could have died from blood loss. As it is, he had to undergo several reconstructive surgeries to rebuild the bone and his arm. Glad to say that today he's actually one of the lucky ones, because he was involved in an accidental shooting and he lived to tell the tale. We're at the home of Mike and Cindy Putnam and their son Matt, and we're going to demonstrate a live firing of the safety bullet so you can see that it's something that's a viable product and that it works, and it's going to be actually teenager tested right now. There are no live rounds on this, and we're not recommending that if any children are watching this movie that you get your father's or parents' gun and try pulling the trigger, because more than likely they don't have the safety bullet in it. Mike, you want to go ahead and load the gun for me?
Yeah.
As you can see, there is no live rounds in this. Okay, there we go. Now what's going to happen is the gun's going to make a popping noise, about like a cap gun, and that'll lock the safety bullet up in it. All right, Matt, go ahead. All right, the safety bullet has just been fired. That's all the noise there is. And the reason why it's so little is because the only thing that's firing this safety bullet is a primer charge. And let me show you how much powder is in this thing. This is the primer. That is what fires the safety bullet. There is absolutely no powder in this gun at all except for what's in here. About the same as you would have in a cap gun. And that's why this safety bullet is so safe. All right, Matt, if you would try to eject the shell out of there for me. Is that everything you got? Okay, Mike, you want to try this?
Sure.
Now, Mike is ex-military. You're what, former Special Forces?
Yes, sir.
Special Forces. You know guns fairly well?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
Okay. And here he is trying to eject it out.
It's locked up.
It's locked up solid. Nowhere. That's what the safety bullet does. If you put this safety bullet in your gun, and your son gets a hold of it, or your daughter, and they pull the trigger, they just saved themselves a life with a safety bullet, because it'll lock that gun up solid.